Sure, the internet might be radicalizing our grandparents and eroding our mental health and destroying the fabric of society, but goddamn has it made buying stuff online an absolute delight. We're talking free shipping, next day delivery, and the crown jewel, free returns. Did you just impulse buy a $200 above ground pool? I don't think so, brother, because with the click of a button, you can send it right back to the shelf for someone else to buy. No harm, no foul.
Millions of perfectly good products each year sent to be destroyed.
Shelves filled with unwanted Amazon returns.
50% of all items seem to be unopened and still in their shrink wrap.
The destination, a landfill and recycling site. Unsold laptops marked destroyed.
Oh, of course. No, unfortunately, when you return something, even if it's brand new, the chances of that item actually making it back to the shelves are depressingly low. In modern shopping, you can pretty reasonably think of a return as a long, winding drive to the trash. And oh my God, what a lot of trash it is. In 2023 alone, we sent over 8 billion pounds of returns to the landfill. That's approximately 1 pound for every seagull in this Getty Images clip of a landfill. Now you might be thinking, wow, how could trashing billions of dollars of basically new products possibly be profitable for companies? Well, retailers are doing a sort of deal with the capitalism devil here. Everyone else offers free returns, so they offer it too. But since it's expensive and complicated to actually get a return back to the shelves, they mostly just don't. And as you can imagine, this is costly. So businesses slash their production and labor costs and or just bump up their prices to account for refunding nearly 15% of everything Americans purchase. In an attempt to get back some of the money that's getting thrown away with returns, retailers have begun selling their returned items for pennies on the dollar to what is known as a bulk item liquidator. Wow, listen to this baby purr. With companies trashing billions of dollars worth of merchandise every single year, an interesting phenomenon has occurred. A gigantic network of aftermarket liquidators has sprung up to try to resell some of that returned merchandise rather than letting it go to the dump. The amount of wasted value is so enormous that Liquidation makes money simply by tossing returns into giant open-topped cardboard boxes and then selling them off to the highest bidder. Or if you're in the area, you can drop by and buy a mystery box for yourself. It's a great way to spend an afternoon, or if you're a content creator, it's a really fun way to make some unhinged side hustle grind culture videos about selling returns as a cool way to make some cash.
You can buy people's Amazon returns for super cheap.
The treasure box ended up being $9,936 of stuff.
Cha-ching! But that's not my style, brother. I make punishingly long videos full of context that no one asked for. 8%, 10%, 20%, 20 to 30%, 40%, 75%, 20%. But I'm not a robot, okay? I understand the appeal of those kinds of videos. They're fun, I get it. And as an olive branch to people who've been trying to get me to make more fun videos, I'm bringing in the A-team. That's right, the big guns. I'm talking about internet historian Danny Gonzalez.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rollie.
Thank you for crouching behind that box for way longer than I think you thought you were going to.
Yeah, my legs hurt.
We're in a giant liquidation center. What's your first impression of the place?
There's definitely a lot more birds living in here than I would have thought.
There are an alarming amount of birds in the rafters. I will check with the manager, but I don't think those are for sale. But if they are, you're going home with a whole pallet full of birds today.
I'm just struck by the sheer sense of mystery. So many possibilities in these unopened, like nondescript boxes.
There could be anything in these boxes, not just a queen-size bed top sheet.
Or a giant piece of foam.
That's actually mine. I left that here earlier.
Oh, sorry, man.
All right, let's take a look at the colossal amount of waste that is created by online shopping by getting Danny his very own palette of other people's basically new returned stuff. Now, Danny, what's your strategy for hunting down one of these pallets?
I'm hoping to find a palette that I can rehome each individual item to. Find it a forever home, but if I'm doing all this work, I'd also like to make a couple bucks while I'm at it.
As well you should. It's your right as an American. All right, Danny, what?
God bless America.
I'm not sure if we have the rights to sing that song, but go ahead. Land. All right, why don't you take a look around and see what there is to see, and let's pop this thing off. Hi, I'm Rollie Williams, a guy with a climate science and policy degree and a brand new friend. and this is a video about the mountain of trash that's created from free returns, featuring Danny Gonzalez.
Welcome to Climate Town.
Now, there was a time when returns were really very simple. You would buy a hammer from the general store only to remember that you already had a hammer. And since you're not some kind of two-hammer-owning millionaire, you march right back to that store, look the shopkeeper dead in the face, and tell them, "Sir, I do not want your hammer anymore." And they'd refund you. Then they'd take the hammer, walk it 10 feet to the hammer shelf, and another customer could come by and buy your hammer instead. And that was basically the process at the original J.C. Penney's stores. A generous returns policy from a guy named James Cash Penney in a store that looked like this. And it basically went on like that for decades until the glorious invention of the internet.
You've got mail.
Yes, the internet may have been criminally slow and constantly getting disconnected, but retailers immediately saw the potential in online shopping. But how do you get people to buy stuff without seeing it first? Sure, you can get some absolute suckers to buy things sight unseen, but shoes? No, shoes you need to feel. Shoes you need to try on. Shoes you need to measure perfectly by cramming your foot into this metal thing. Shoes simply must be bought in person. And it was this kind of thinking that almost doomed the idea of Zappos. But Zappos founder Nick Swinburne had a really good card up his sleeve. Not an ace, that's too obvious. A jack. The jack of free returns. Absolutely free, no questions asked. Can I return it next month? Fuck your month. How about a year? 365 days, free returns, and we won't ask you why!
Experience shoe shopping the Zappos way, a generous return policy.
Got my gear and my kicks the best. Zappos.com.
So now instead of trying on different shoes in the store and putting the ones that don't fit back on the shelf, they'll just ship you as many shoes as you could possibly imagine. And then you just return the shoes that you don't want. And the reason we're talking about it is because this idea worked really well. Zappos went wild, going from an uncool $1 million in sales in 2000 to a very cool $1 billion in sales in less than a decade. But unlike a brick and mortar store that can easily restock and resell shoes that get tried on, about a third of Zappos' gross revenue was disappearing into the vortex of free returns. They were also getting blasted by the twin guns of free shipping and having to rent out massive warehouses to store the millions of shoes, including this little green alien shoe from when the little guy jumped over the big guy. But this is the big tech era, baby. We don't give a shit about money. We want growth, Jackson. So as Zappos rocketed up the revenue bar chart, their success caught the eye of one of the most powerful people in the world. And I still can't believe that sentence leads to this guy, but it does.
You can hear him coming a mile away.
As long as we're gonna be watching back clips of Jeff Bezos, let's do this thing right. Okay, Danny, we found some footage of American heartthrob Jeff Bezos from a little over 20 years ago, and I just feel like I want to get your perspective on who is arguably America's most successful citizen.
Yeah, I would love to see this footage. You know, I know that he today is America's heartthrob, obviously. Going around on yachts, looking so damn strong.
Jacked out of his mind.
And I'm sure that 20 years ago, he's probably doing much of the same.
You'd imagine he'd be even more in his prime when he was just coming up. So
That's right.
Let's check it out. Do you think you could recreate that laugh?
I feel like a good imitation of it has to get the sound right, but you also have to get like the crazy look in his eyes, right?
Wow, that was really, really good.
I think my net worth just rose by $100 million.
No, I didn't have it. I didn't have the...
You got poorer when that happened.
The 35-year-old founder and CEO of Amazon.com.
He's 35 in that.
Wow, that's just 5 years older than me, and he's already worth they said billions of dollars. That's crazy.
You could get there. All
Yeah.
you got to do is found a groundbreaking company that utilizes a new burgeoning technology to undercut all your competitors.
Okay. Yeah. If all of you guys are cool with me doing that, just go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments below.
Smash that like button if you're cool with Danny taking over commerce for the next decade or so.
He saw early on the power of those letters www.
The website that they showed was just www.worldwide.web. My favorite website.
Dude, that was the original Google. People would worldwide.web it if they had a question.
So you're driving out here in what, 94 was it?
July of 94 is when we arrived in Seattle.
A month after I was born.
July of 94.
I was born on the day of the O.J. Simpson murder.
Wait, hang on.
The laugh does kind of come off to me like he's barely holding it together, and you're getting these like little glimpses into his dark and twisted mind. Oh, what? Yeah, man.
This is a kind of a nice look back at what Amazon fulfillment centers used to look like, kind of like libraries.
Yeah, like shelves where a real human being could reach the top of it.
Right.
A real human being could see from one wall to the other all the way across.
Yeah, I don't see any bottles of piss anywhere, actually.
Oh, that's just for sale. That's just for sale.
Amazon fired 150 people in January, 2% of its workforce, to cut down on costs. Last year, a few employees complained publicly in a Washington Post article about what they said is excessive overtime and low pay at Amazon.
Oh, okay. So, no.
Oh, my friends, it's going to get so much worse than that.
Your response to that sweatshop accusation?
Well,
he suddenly seems a lot more pissed, the interviewer.
Yeah.
The whole time he's been laughing along with them, and then he's like, so what the f*** is going on with that?
what we're trying to do isn't easy. And it's not for everybody, that's for sure.
And look, the money's not for everyone either. The money is for me.
Yeah.
Smile.
Man, anything gets this guy. He just took a picture in his cackling.
Tell me what the joke is. Yeah. Smile, took a picture of a guy. What is the comedy there?
Now I have part of your soul.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you.
You know, what's not to love? You order the groceries online and we deliver them to your door.
What is the joke there?
He just described his business plan.
I kind of sort of work for you, so I'm not eager to ask questions.
Ever so barely. Ever so barely. I've never heard that combination.
Kind of nice.
I pay all of my employees ever so barely. I think I've grown a bit of a greater appreciation for the guy, you know?
Yeah.
Now I know a little bit of his history. Now I know that he always laughed like that. It makes sense that he would laugh like a 200 billionaire because he is a 200 billionaire. But before, you know, in that first video, he only had like, what? $1 billion?
Yeah, 6 billion tops.
And he still laughed like that, so it's just kind of interesting to see.
Thanks so much, Danny. Let's get back to 2009, when Jeff Bezos' nation-state Amazon purchased Zappos for a little less than $1 billion. Which honestly doesn't sound like that much, considering Zappos was selling more than $1 billion of shoes every year. But again, Zappos was getting smashed on free returns, so maybe that $1 billion in shoe revenue wasn't actually working out that well for them. But with the full force of Amazon behind free returns, the practice went mainstream. Fellow hot shit corporations Target and Walmart established their own free returns policies to keep up, and soon virtually every major online retailer from the 2010s got sucked in right along with them. And just like Zappos, free returns policies created a major revenue drain. Now, companies hated losing money on free returns, but they were even more afraid of losing customers. And since study after study kept telling them that consumers got so accustomed to free and easy returns that they won't shop at a store that doesn't have them, the free returns stayed. For online businesses, this meant eating shit on returns, so they could also eat the delicious and 100% shit-free sandwich of an army of online consumers clicking that buy button with reckless abandon. And as you may have guessed, America embraced free returns like Lenny from Of Mice and Men embraced animals. By 2023, something like 39% of consumers returned an online purchase at least once a month. Habitual return behaviors emerged, like bracketing, where customers purposely order multiple sizes of the same item and then return the ones that don't fit, and wardrobing, where they buy an item, wear it, and then return it. And just like that, the cost of free returns was spiraling out of control. And if you combine all those returns with the free shipping that got that stuff to you in the first place, you suddenly have an insane amount of packages moving around the country on big trucks. UPS now delivers 2 billion more domestic packages than it did in the year 2000, and in that same time frame, the United States Postal Service tripled its package deliveries. And then there's Amazon, who only started delivering their own packages in 2018, and now they deliver more packages than either UPS or FedEx. In 6 years! UPS has been around for 117 years, and Amazon beat it in 6. No, I didn't want it bad enough. And while today's customers are still treating returns like bringing a hammer back to James Cash Penny, today's sellers are living an extremely different reality. For starters, when you return something, it does not go back to the store. Yeah, when you slap a return label on a basketball or a video game or a pair of pants that didn't fit because actual quote from my tailor, "You got a big butt, man," that item is almost never addressed to the place that you bought it from. Even if you physically take a return back to the brick and mortar store, it almost certainly gets added to a big pile of other returns in the back room, and when that pile gets big enough, it gets put in a truck and driven to meet up with its other return friends. It may even make 2 or 3 more trips on trucks until all the returns in the region gather at what's known as a returns center. Picture a massive warehouse with low ceilings. Actually, you know what? Don't picture it. CNBC did a huge story on this. Here's what it looks like. Return centers are packed to the absolute gills with the millions of items that people like you and me send back for a full refund. Now, I want to stress that there's not a ton of good statistical information about returns. For reasons that will become clear, companies don't really like to advertise how they move returned items around. But don't worry, because the information that is available is extremely depressing. Let's start with the purpose of a return center. It's not to get each item safely back to the seller you bought it from. The job of a return center is to assess how valuable each item actually is and then sort them all into 5 basic categories. If reselling the return isn't going to be worth the shipping and labor cost it would require to get it back to the store or back to the warehouse, then it, throw it away. We'll just make a whole new one from scratch. With about $740 billion in returned items every year, the fraction that gets sent to the dump is hard to pin down, but experts put it somewhere between 10% and 25% of all returned items. And it's probably way higher than that for apparel. And that sucks. An Amazon employee slash whistleblower slash certified cool dude for life captured some incredibly shaky hidden camera footage from inside an Amazon warehouse. We get to witness unsold laptops being marked for destruction, boxes full of electronics like cordless drills and headphones getting carted off to a landfill, and even a manager's spreadsheet noting more than 124,000 items getting destroyed in a single week. Sometimes companies will try to avoid dumping returns by shredding them and seeing if they can recycle some of the scraps, or diverting them to what is known as energy recovery, where they light the returns on fire to generate electricity. And remember, this is tens of billions of dollars of returns getting trashed every single year just in the US because it was unprofitable or too much of a hassle to try to get them back into circulation. Absolutely brutal. Moving right along to category 2. When a return is too expensive to deal with, but they don't want to just throw it away, sellers can choose to donate it to a charitable organization. It's hard to pin down exactly what % of returns are donated, but in 2022, Amazon hit the 100 million returned items donated mark, so it's not nothing. But before you go patting these noble heroes on the back, just remember that donating something does not mean it'll get used. This is an overproduction problem, which means thrift stores are increasingly swamped with low-quality donations, so returns still manage to find their way to the landfill after taking a couple extra trips on a truck. Now, I'm not saying donations are bad. Please keep donating. Just know that online retailers sending Goodwill the mountain of stuff that they deemed worthless is probably not a sustainable solution by itself. Moving right along to category 3. Back to the show! Whew, okay, if a return is a pristine, unopened, basically in new condition item, it can sometimes be resold as new. But as you can probably guess from the amount of qualifiers I had to add to the word item, reselling as new is pretty rare. Every company has their own way of determining if an item is new or not, but according to this list of 7 different industry standards, 5 classify an item as used if the package has been opened at all. Apparently, companies would rather send 100 innocent returns to a landfill than let 1 guilty return go to a customer. In an incredible twist, Amazon is actually better than a lot of other companies at reselling an item as new because they control so many elements of the supply chain. But still, this is a rarity in returns, which brings us to... If an item is in great condition, but not pristine in the package, it can get sent back to the warehouse for rehabilitation and restocking. It's very category dependent, but if we're talking about high-end clothing, roughly 70% of the time a return can be dry cleaned and resold as new. If we're talking about electronics, that number is more like 30%. Same goes for home goods. To their credit, sellers are taking advantage of the open box discount, where they mark down the price and resell the item as refurbished. Before we started researching for this video, I kind of assumed that almost all returns were rehabbed and reshelved, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Which brings us to the final category.
The Liquidation Center.
When companies do the math and they realize it's not going to be profitable for them to resell a returned item, but they still want to make a little bit of money on it, they can choose to sell that item to a liquidator. Liquidators will buy it for pennies on the dollar, pay to truck them from the return center to a liquidator warehouse like this one, then try to sell or auction off huge pallets of returns for slightly more pennies on the dollar. Sometimes those marketplaces are online, like Liquidation.com, Walmart Liquidations, or Amazing Bargains USA, but sometimes they'll just let regular-ass people show up and roll the dice on a random pallet of returns. Regular people like Danny Gonzalez.
Regular.
Sorry. Extraordinary. What have you found so far in this liquidation center?
So there's a few different levels of product palettes, I would say. You've got the Amazon mystery boxes, which are totally closed off, total mystery. I have no idea what's in those boxes. It could be anything.
And it's tantalizing you. You're leaning towards the mystery box.
I'm a little tantalized. Then you've got one level down, a little bit of mystery. Those boxes, you can kind of see like the top layer of stuff, so you can get a sense of what might be in the rest of the box, but it could be anything.
There could be Tom Cruise from the movie Collateral waiting to put 2 in your head and 1 in your throat.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 in the head, 1 in the throat, maybe 2 in the 1 in the eye, but it's gonna be bullets and it's gonna be in you.
Now you are holding what looks like a tiny castle for a baby?
Yeah, I think that these are for fish bowls.
Oh.
So this is another type of palette that's just like one item multiplied by 140.
If I'm not mistaken, this is a brand new fish castle.
I think so. Never touched by human hands, maybe lightly touched by fish hands.
Now, I'm noticing this is $600. Have you seen other prices, and have you been surprised by any of the prices you've seen here?
I saw a box over there that looked like, I don't know, maybe like 1,000,000 flip-flops that was like $200-300, so that seems like a pretty good deal.
That's an incredible deal. They pay you to take those flip-flops off their hands.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Put them on their feet.
All right. Are there any palettes that you are immediately not going to be selecting here today?
Oh yeah, this one?
Okay.
I think that I want to go for a palette that has a decent amount of variety. If I'm trying to sell these and make a profit, I'd really be betting all of my money on one product. Mm-hmm. If I get some more variety, then maybe some items won't do as well, but some items might. So I'm hedging my bets a little bit better with one of those boxes.
Okay, Danny, you know the rules, okay? We can only afford to buy one palette here, so you gotta choose wisely. But you are, of course, the hometown hero. I think this building is where you went to high school, is that correct?
That's right.
Go Boxes!
Go Boxes, baby!
You go out there and do some fun on-camera antics, and I'll do what I do best, which is tell you a little bit more about the context of liquidations. There's a lot of different ways an item could find itself in one of these boxes, rather than on the original shelf or in the dump. But the original retail value is a major factor. It might make sense to run that $2,000 laptop back through the entire reverse supply chain, but those same shipping and handling costs could be too high for a $25 blender. So we're gonna find a lot of new items with lower price tags ending up in these boxes. Danny's also gonna be running into a lot of new clothing here. Since fashion trends change so quickly, clothing is basically the fruits and vegetables of the return world. An item can be in transit or sitting in a return center for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Before the clothing even has a chance of getting back to the shelves, it could be out of fashion or just out of season. Because clothing is made for next to nothing, it's almost always cheaper to sell your returns to a liquidator and make a completely new shirt from scratch than it is to ship an existing shirt back to the factory. And we've already done 2 videos about fast fashion, so I'm not gonna belabor that point again, but just know that a lot of new clothing ends up in places like this or places like cut to landfill. And it's not just clothing and cheaper returns. Items that retail for a lot more money can also find themselves in pallets for a variety of reasons. Due to the sheer volume of items that return centers receive, employees get maybe a minute per item. Which means if a Razor scooter's got a scuffed tire, or a pair of shoes has had the laces undone, or an electronic has been removed from its box at all, it might find itself in one of these pallets. The point is, a lot of this stuff should be able to be sold for almost full value. But because there's not a better system in place to reclaim these returns, basically new items are getting packaged into mystery boxes and then sold to people who may end up throwing the majority of the contents away if they can't end up reselling the items themselves. And we're back, folks. And Danny, you've had a chance to look at all these pallets. Are you ready to make a final decision?
You know, there's a lot of really interesting stuff here, so it's been really tough, but I think I've narrowed it down. What I'm basing this off of is just kind of the vibe of the pallet and the potential. Like how are these boxes shaped, you know? Like what could this be based on the shape of this box?
Maybe like a heavy yoga mat?
Could be a heavy yoga mat, could be maybe, like a vanilla long john.
Oh, you think this is a perishable food item in
here?
here?
Like a big donut?
It could be a big donut, and that's why you don't
Why do you
want.
say it like
I'm
that?
sorry,
You don't think it could be a vanilla long john, do you?
I was trying to yes and you, but I really didn't believe it was going to be a big donut. This is not a big donut. What's that?
Yeah, so take a look at this. This is a telescope box, and by the looks of it, it looks like a pretty fun telescope, honestly.
If you can see the moon nearly as good as this picture implies, let's buy this right now.
That's right. I've never even seen the moon. This is an Amazon return, right?
Okay.
And sometimes you return Amazon returns in the packaging they came in, but sometimes you've destroyed the Amazon packaging.
You're so excited you rip it open like it's Christmas.
That's right. So this could be a telescope.
Okay.
But it could also be just some random junk that some guy got from Amazon and then he just put in his telescope box that he already had laying around.
Yes, it could be a vanilla long john.
Could be a bomb.
So we don't want this one.
The box I'm actually going with is down here, but you'll notice along the way there's like a lot of bedding products. I don't know what that's about. It seems like people return a lot of bedding.
When you buy bedding and you return it, ain't nobody using that bedding again.
That's right.
They're not rolling the dice on that.
Yeah, because it's like, well, I don't know if you have bed bugs. I don't know if you have leprosy.
Yeah.
And you do.
I got both of them.
Okay.
The leprosy is attacking the bed bug, so it's kind of keeping itself at bay right now, but I'm a ticking time bomb, much like 30% of these boxes.
But I think this is the box I'm gonna go with right here.
Okay, and what led you to this decision?
I like the variety of box shapes. Take a look at this one. I don't know what could be in here, but I'm interested to find out. It could be a picture frame, and I would want to know what the picture is.
What if it's a picture of you?
That would be like so scary.
That would be a pretty awesome thing for us to do, to like put this picture of you in here.
That'd be a crazy prank.
Yeah.
Are you guys becoming a prank channel?
Oh yeah, we're pivoting hard.
Okay, sick. And then there's some stuff, you know, there's clues of what might be in here. There's a Chewy box.
Oh, okay.
You know, the pet food, pet toy company.
Or not that.
It could not be that too, but either way, I'm gonna give whatever's in there to my dog.
Okay. This feels like a box that's got 2 poster frames in it. And I can even actually see life hack.
A clue.
we can tear open all the boxes a little bit.
Just bite the edge of the box until you can see what's inside.
So you can taste what's inside.
Yeah.
And then what's this totally f***ed up box?
Yeah, this one is an enigma to me. It is crushed. It is light. Like there's only one small item in here. And yet, if you were to shake it around, give it a little jostle, nothing. Well, I heard a little something.
I shook it really hard.
Yeah.
I'm super strong. Maybe there's like an air pouch in there?
Or maybe it's taped to one side, like some kind of bomb would be.
Jesus Christ. You ready to lock this in?
Brother, let's lock it in.
All right, here we are at Danny's house with a pallet full of mystery items.
You just hear like 1,000 glasses shatter.
What's your strategy of getting this back out into the world?
I'm thinking if I want to find these things a forever home, I'm gonna just need to get each individual product in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So I'm talking put it on Facebook Marketplace, get them listed on eBay. I don't care what nefarious purposes they have with these products, just get them off my hands and get money back into the hands.
Even if there's like bombs and guns, we'll sell them to the highest bidder, even if that's Al-Qaeda. But look, we're only in Chicago for another 24 hours. I've genuinely just like thrown the hot potato of this job at Danny, and now I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm actually for the first time really kind of scared and not looking forward to this at all.
So all that's gonna be over on Danny's YouTube channel. Go ahead and visit that. It's Danny Gonzalez on YouTube, and he'll have the pallet video, unboxing, redistribution, and also like 1,000 other fantastic videos. Some of my favorite videos on the internet are Danny Gonzalez videos. And yes, I'm including Grape Stomp Lady, so don't even ask. But look, unboxing is fun, okay? And I've been promising to have a little more fun in these videos.
So in the interest of fun, we got to at least open something in this video, right?
That's right. And I've got a creative solution for us. I went online to a liquidation company called liquidation.com, where they'll sell you a box of absolutely random returned items for like 150 bucks. It's basically a mystery box. And when I say basically a mystery box, that was the literal description of the item. What's inside these packages is unknown because they have not been opened to examine the content. So as a big thank you to Danny for taking time out of his day to do a video about reverse logistics, I got him one of these mystery boxes. So thank you so much.
This is for me?
Oh yeah.
So you personally and morally stand behind every single item in this box.
That's right. And not only that, but I thought you would need it.
Let's get into it, baby. Ooh.
Wow.
More boxes.
I guess I should have known this. I assumed it was just gonna be full of loose items. It's just all boxes.
You want to do the honors of slicing that bad boy open?
Yeah.
What did you get me? Wow! It's a big purple rug. Wow,
this is really soft, actually. We could lay this down and lay some items on it.
At the very least, we're getting some nice like presentation points for this video.
And it is nail clippers.
Ooh, those look like pet nail clippers, kind of.
Extra long, sure grip handle for ferrets.
Whoa! This long box must be a ferret. Well, I got NBA 2K10.
Okay.
For the Xbox 360.
Do you have Xbox?
No, I got rid of it.
Oh, okay.
Well, this just so happens to be a CD. The ink
It's
records.
Ja Rule.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wait,
Hang
what is it? Wait. Original cover art, original back art, and then he just wrote Ja Rule the ink on it. It is poison. Oh, it's like pet safe salt for your driveway.
This is great. You have pets and a driveway.
I literally have this stuff over there. I could just put it over there. I'm just gonna go put it over there.
Put it over there.
Whoa!
Oh my God, a dog was in this box the whole time.
How did he get lost in there? Can you make an incision right here, please?
Stop flirting with me, doctor. That's Grey's Anatomy. I assume that's how all doctors are.
I'll take it from here.
Okay. Where did you go to medical school?
A heater.
Nice.
Space heater.
These are great. Moms love these. You can actually read the address of the original shopper right on here.
So should we go?
Yeah.
Is it close by?
What if we went and redelivered
Here you
this
go.
to them?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously there was like all these items in there, so we only cut together the fun ones. If you are like, I gotta see more. Go on over to Danny's channel. We're gonna unbox this whole goddamn box.
I'll scratch that unboxing itch that you have deep inside your skin.
And if for some reason you still have the need to watch more unboxing, we did the whole unedited fucking 40-minute take. It'll be a little bit edited, so it might be like 25 to 30 minutes of unboxing this whole thing. That'll be on our Patreon page, the Climate Town Patreon page.
And if that doesn't satisfy your unboxing needs, you're honestly sick and you need to go to the doctor
immediately. Finally, a big thank you to Danny for doing these videos, and you got your video to do, I got my video to do, so I'll see you next time. Yeah! Now, as much fun as it is to open mystery boxes with my new friend Danny, the fact that you can buy warehouses full of brand new, unused items for dirt cheap is kind of a huge red flag for the way we do commerce. We have walked our way into a system where it's more profitable to overproduce a bunch of low-cost items and then write them off when they don't sell, so companies just do that. And unfortunately, the billions of dollars lost to landfills and liquidation centers is largely being transferred to you, yes, I'm talking to you, the consumer. And brace yourself for some nuclear-powered get-off-my-lawn energy. But one result of overproduction and free returns is that they don't make stuff like they used to. Yeah, profit margins are basically the only things corporations care about, and a big way sellers are able to trash those returns is if they use cheaper materials and lower quality productions. And wow, I sound like my dad here, but the proof is in the pudding. Furniture used to last decades and herniate every disc in your back whenever you tried to move it, and now it's mostly made of wood chips, glue, and plywood. Appliances used to be built like a brick shithouse, and now they've given way to replaceable, lower quality models that break down, sometimes intentionally, after only a couple of years. And I know I've said this before, but clothing used to be made from higher quality natural fibers, and now almost everything you put on your body is mostly plastic. Now, I'm not saying plastic automatically means bad, but the fashion industry is mostly built on overproducing cheap, low-quality apparel that you can throw away after only a handful of wears. And the real kick in our collective dicks is that free returns aren't even really free. Yeah, we're losing quality, and in some cases, we're also just secretly paying for the return up front. Many companies just add the cost of the return to the price, which means you're actually getting more screwed if you don't return the item, and we haven't even talked about the climate implications yet. And I'm sure you've already got an intuitive sense that piles of unused shit rotting in landfills isn't great for the environment, but this channel is called Climate Town, so we gotta talk about it. It's bad, folks. Let's take just the shipping logistics of a single return. In many cases, an item is transported via a fossil fuel powered truck multiple times between the buyer's home and the return center, then multiple more times between a return center and a liquidator, and then even more times after getting purchased. CBC News did a fun little James Bond style investigation in which they bought a bunch of items off of Amazon and then immediately returned them in mint condition, except with GPS tracking devices inside. The hidden trackers followed the items as they were driven around hundreds of miles. They even tracked a brand new backpack all the way. You know what? I watched a bunch of clips for this episode, and the CBC investigation was easily the greatest thing I watched, so I gotta let them tell you.
Would you buy this?
I for sure would.
Like you would buy it from me right now?
Of course.
Okay, so we took one just like this, in just as good condition, and returned it to Amazon. And where do you think Amazon sent it?
I would love to guess right here.
That garbage location across the street.
That's insane. Oh my God.
I'm not happy.
I'm just truly shocked by that. So for it to end up in a waste management facility, to me is truly shocking.
And the numbers here are terrifying. In 2022 alone, reverse logistics company Optoro estimates that returning merchandise in the US had the impact of adding 5.1 million gas-powered cars to the road. And as bad as it is, wasting millions of gallons of gas Ubering backpacks to landfills, that's like the least bad part. The amount of energy and raw materials that we are cramming into these items only to wave them directly into the garbage is staggering. Remember, less than a third of returned electronics are actually sent back to the shelves, and those little sons of bitches contain plastic made from fossil fuels and a ton of different metals, including aluminum, silver, lithium, copper, and precious gold.
They found gold in the hills! Gold? Gold? Gold?
These metals need to be mined out of the earth using human labor and fossil fuel powered equipment, transported, refined, transported again, shaped, the list goes on. And every step puts more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. researchers studying electronic waste found a 53% rise in CO2 emissions between 2014 and 2020. And while recycling efforts are underway, we're only actually recycling about 20 to 30% globally. And even that is often carried out using methods that have serious human health and environmental consequences. And speaking of consequences, students of economics will call the unregulated waste of free returns an externality, or a cost that's being absorbed by the world at large, communism style, instead of the corporations that are actually making the products. And sure, the concept of free returns is an incredible deal for customers. A store that shows up to my house, refunds a purchase, and takes it back for free? Yeah, baby, sign me up, or send a QR code or whatever, just give me the deal of the century. But of course, this is America. So if you think you're getting a generous deal from corporations worth trillions of dollars, whose only goal is to make as much profit as physically possible, well, I mean, if you watch the entire episode up to this point and you still think free returns are awesome and that you'll never pay a price for the insane carbon emissions and resource depletion and constantly decreasing product quality, yeah, dude, I guess take a break. Why watch this? Why don't you check out Love is Blind? I hear there's a bunch of sociopaths trying to trick each other into getting married.
Hang on. Mind if Is this too much? Just a little bit. I never thought I could care for someone that would bring me to tears.
But for the rest of you, I'm happy to announce that we've officially entered the What We're Gonna Do About It section. First off, just being aware of how fucked up free returns are is actually a big step. Part of the problem here seems to be that consumers want to believe free returns work, and companies are too afraid to publicize what's actually going on. And this whole "we're totally returning it" dance actually ends up biting consumers. So next time you go to make a purchase that doesn't have free returns, that might actually be a good thing. It could mean that the company is not sacrificing quality to pay for the return. And in a rare switcheroo, it seems like buyers and sellers are actually kind of aligned on this one. Except for behemoths like Amazon, companies would really love to reduce the amount of returns they're doing. According to one industry report, a return on a $100 item costs the company $25 to $30 to cover shipping and customer service and reverse logistics. They don't really like it either. Now, companies have started trying to discourage returns by introducing barriers, like reducing the return window or charging for shipping. And look, I'm not completely convinced they won't just cut free returns and then keep producing cheap crap, but at least now good faith sellers won't have to light 15% or more of their revenue on fire. Even Amazon has begun charging $1 for returns that ship through UPS, but that may have more to do with trying to take down a competitor. And also, they're not coming to the rescue. They're the ones that did this to us. That's really cool. And I don't know when you're actually watching this video, but we're dropping it around the holidays because that's like the Super Bowl of returns. The National Retail Federation estimated US shoppers returned over $170 billion in holiday merchandise in 2021, and UPS alone ships almost 3 million returns per day in the holiday aftermath. It's insane. And one thing you personally can do to not be part of the problem is to just be mindful of what you buy and return. Another thing everyone can do is buy secondhand. Give this dining room chair a second life while simultaneously paying a fraction of the price and sending a really choice market signal that you don't need to buy a bunch of new shit all the time. And if you're in Brooklyn, please come on down to the Big Reuse. It's my favorite thrift store in the entire world. Great selection. And they let us shoot this video here. Actually, they let us use their composting sites for the food waste video. You know what? Big Reuse, 10 out of 10, no notes. And if you can afford the upfront cost of a new, high-quality item that's also a reasonable choice, just know it might take some research. Just because something is expensive does not mean it's well-made or that the workers were paid a living wage. Sometimes it's just expensive because corporations, really love money. On the policy side, France passed an anti-waste law in 2020 targeting waste, promoting reuse, and trying to eliminate single-use plastics, and that's been vaguely positive. Way to go, France. And while the US has struggled with this on the federal level, our friends at Climate Change Makers have put together a playbook with step-by-step instructions you can follow to do something about this yourself. Link in the bio. And finally, we can put a little pressure on companies by talking openly and honestly about what a free return really means. This may be you talking to your friends and family, or getting loud about it online, or if you're someone who works at a major retailer and you're trashing free returns, blow that whistle. Oh yeah, we're officially endorsing snitching on major corporations. In fact, if you're a whistleblower who comes forward because of this video, you get a pizza party. That's right, baby. I'm buying for you and up to 20 of your friends. Maybe here, maybe not here. If it doesn't make geographical sense, I get it. Any pizza parlor in your neighborhood, it's on me. That's an official Climate Town promise, provided I check with my lawyer and it's not illegal. And at this point, you might be wondering, what happened to Danny? We missed that guy. We need closure. Well, first of all, let me just say that we are not anti-liquidation center here at Climate Town. But let's not confuse what a liquidation center is. It is a band-aid on the head wound that is online shopping waste. And it's a multi-million-dollar industry because there's actual value being disposed of. But if you're tempted to think of liquidation as the perfect solution, let's check back in with Danny to see how it went.
Thanks for asking, guys. It was awful. If you've ever tried to sell anything on Facebook Marketplace, you know it can be kind of frustrating dealing with all of the messages, people trying to undercut you, scam you, trying to negotiate some kind of public meetup so that you don't get kidnapped or murdered at your own house. Well, imagine doing that for 34 items at the same time. And mind you, these are 34 items that someone already decided they didn't want. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all junk. There was some decent stuff in the box. There were rugs that seemed like they hadn't been used at all. There was this cool AI bird feeder. But then there was broken stuff, like a Keurig and a hedge trimmer toy that both just didn't do anything. And then there was stuff that, like, I didn't even know what it was when I first unboxed it. So like, how am I supposed to sell something on Facebook Marketplace? I don't even know what it is. If I had to do this all again, I could probably do it a little bit more efficiently. If I had like a better storage solution, and maybe I could kind of figure out a way where I don't have to put every item up on Facebook. I could have people come to me, and there were certain hours where people knew they could come every day, and you might notice I'm just describing a store. This would be better if I was just a store. Doing this as just one guy as a side hustle, I was hoping I would feel like I'm solving the problem, you know? I'm getting rid of all this junk, but it was really hard. And I'm not gonna do it again. And at the end of it all, I only made $23. Back to you.
Wow, thank you so much, Danny. And just for the record, I had no idea how big of a pain in the ass that was about to be for you. I thought it was gonna be like, ha ha ha, we got you a box of pool noodles and Venetian blinds. Why don't you have a nice, fun, wacky garage sale? That is my bad. And if you want to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes, check out the video over on Danny's channel as he slowly descends into madness trying to liquidate the box of stuff we got. It's a fantastic video, but more importantly, it was clearly a lot of work. And so, Danny, I hereby offer you this coupon, good for one extremely annoying task that I will do on your behalf. No expiration date. But you know what's better than buying a bunch of cheap crap online? Nebula. Nebula is an independent streaming service that's creator-owned, and they make high-quality, original content without having to cater to an all-powerful algorithm. I just watched a Nebula original game show called The Getaway, where 6 contestants drove cross-country doing challenges to win a cash prize while also trying to figure out which one of them was the snitch. And then they done twisted it by secretly making everyone the snitch, resulting in all 6 contestants playing 4D chess against each other for 5 episodes, and it's seriously so good. And the best part is that the Getaway contestants are also Nebula creators, which means you can watch their original videos along with a ton of other heavy hitters like Legal Eagle, Philosophy Tube, H Bomber Guy. The list is out of control. Also on the list is a nasty little creator who goes by the name of Climate Town, so you know, pretty cool. So why don't you go see if my real-life friend and host of the hit series Good Work, Dan Toomey, can outsmart the 5 other snitches in The Getaway. Or take a trip inside the brain of Simon Clark. Or just jump headfirst into the inexhaustible wealth of content on Nebula, all ad and sponsor free. Plus, they now have guest passes, which every member can give out to friends or family for a free week of Nebula, no payment info required. So use the link nebula.tv/climatetown to get 40% off. That's so much off. That's just $3 a month or $36 a year or 9.86 cents a day. So nebula.tv/climatetown, do yourself a favor, it's the deal of the century! Wow, we did it! Congratulations, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is through our Patreon page. We got a bunch of stuff on there, including the full Danny unboxing clip, plus a bunch of other cut footage and behind the scenes. You get access to the Climate Town landline where you can actually call in. It's like calling your favorite pizza restaurant. And I'm hearing people don't do that anymore. Well, they used to do it, and it was pretty fun. We got clips from our live show, you know, we just got a whole lot of stuff. And subscribing to the Patreon also has the added benefit of helping keep the channel afloat. So thank you a million times in advance. We've also got t-shirts made by a company called TS Designs in North Carolina. The shirts are entirely made in the Carolinas with a short and completely trackable supply chain from the cotton farmer to the cutting and sewing to the printing and dyeing. Honestly, you might already have plenty of shirts, and that's good. Great even. But if you're looking for a nice shirt to wear, I think these are pretty great shirts. Fully cotton, no plastic, featuring art from Marguerite Cutler, and made by people who are actually paid a decent wage right here in the US. And if you're looking to make your own shirts, let me suggest TS Designs. Love those guys. And also our partners, Ethics Merch, links down below. And we just wanted to give a quick shout out to Nice Find Wholesale.
If you're in the Chicagoland area and you're looking for a liquidation wholesaler, this is the spot. Look at how many boxes they have. Look at all the neat stuff.
We climbed around all over the place. We got our sticky little fingerprints on the boxes.
Rollie got stuck inside one for hours.
They couldn't find me. I wasn't making a sound though. For the first time ever, I felt free.
Yeah, must be nice.
And I owe it to Nice Find Wholesalers. And they've got a YouTube page, so check out their YouTube page. Give them a like and a subscribe. For all your liquidation wholesale needs, check out Nice Find Wholesale. And of course, thank you so much to the experts and reverse logistics gurus we talked to while making this episode. I'm talking about Christian Pillar from Pollen Returns, Brandon Dupsky, a super duper guy, and the owner of Backtrack. I'm talking about Jordan McBain from McBain Recoveries, and I'm talking about Danny Gonzalez from www.worldwide.web. What a crew, thank you so much. And if you're still starving for content, we got a newsletter, baby! It's written by Climate Town writer-director Matt Nelsen and me. That's a lot like these episodes, except written out and then sent to you in your email address. And of course, we got a great podcast called The Climate Denier's Playbook, featuring me and my childhood friend / Daily Show writer Nicole Conlon, and executive produced by Ben Boult. We put an insane amount of work into every single episode. It's really quite something, so I encourage you to check it out if you feel like it. All right, that's actually the end of the whole thing. Links in the bio to everything. And as always, okay.
Okay. I have not tried marijuana. I have never used it at any time.
Did you hear that pop? Goodbye.